This political tribe survey is going viral on X right now. You basically answer a bunch of questions and they tell you which flank or faction of your party you'd fall into. And then it'll tell you where you fit among all the other people who took this poll. I was kind of curious about how I would score. Let's lock in. This poll was put out by Echelon Insights, a data science company founded by Republican pollsters Kristen Soltis Anderson and Patrick Ruffini. This is in no way an endorsement of Echelon Insights or this survey or anything like that, but the website uses the phrase political tribe. And you know what that tells me? We are increasingly tribal in American politics. We like to live in little silos that are more about identity than ideas. It's a mindset of us versus them, and everyone is super emotional about their views. Social media has, of course, made all of this worse by feeding us feeds that are echo chambers of what we already believe. People tend to want to stay in their camp. It takes putting aside our pride and prejudices and fierce loyalty to leave the camp. I mean, if you see someone who's a political convert, you're like, whoa, you must have been burned at the stake on the way out. No mercy for non-believers these days. How did you do it? Because both sides don't trust each other, they demonize each other, they're pretty eager to throw hands now that they can hide behind their keyboards. Civil debate could have solved this, by the way. Charlie Kirk made that possible, but then he was killed by a leftist. So you see the mess we're in. Look at the recent record-breaking government shutdown. It was the same old Democrats versus Republicans. Republicans want to rip grandma out of the hospital bed. Democrats want the country to go bankrupt. But within that classic fight was a mini fight. Old guard versus new guard, young versus old, especially between dinosaur Democrat Chuck Schumer and radical leftist Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. They have a battle royale playing out right now. Who knows, maybe Chuck Schumer will get primaried in New York. Echelon Insights figured out that there are many factions to the left and right these days, and it accounted for that. X is the platform now where all these factions are festering and building their cases. Elon Musk, I give him credit, brought freedom back to X, but without content moderation, and there's not a whole lot of that these days, it also means some pretty radical ideas are getting their day in the sun. Okay, enough. I'm gonna take the quiz. All right, so there's a bunch of questions, each with two options. Then you decide to what degree you agree with option 1 or option 2. Option 1 leans in one political direction, and option 2 leans in the other. So there's some room for nuance or being politically coded, if you will. It'll make more sense once we get into it, so let's just go. Option 1, abortion should be legal in all or most circumstances, or illegal in all or most circumstances for option 2. I somewhat agree. Actually, I strongly agree with option 2 because most circumstances would leave room for rape and incest, which are the exceptions that Democrats always invoke when they want to fearmonger about abortion. So this accounts for that. And as a Catholic and principled conservative, I believe abortion is a moral abomination that we should not sanction with legislation. So strongly agree with option 2. It is more important to, 1, control gun ownership, or it's more important to protect the right of Americans to own guns. Strongly agree that the Second Amendment is a very special constitutional amendment, just like they all are, that we need to protect the law-abiding, innocent gun owners who are just exercising that freedom. The tragedy of shootings, or I should say murders, because it's not the fact that it was a shooting, it was the fact that someone used a gun to murder people. That is a tragedy in American life. And we are better off addressing that by figuring out why we have a mental illness epidemic and what's going on with the kids, especially what's going on with young men that's radicalizing them in that direction. That's what I'm interested in. Strongly agree with option 2. Option 1, the government should deal with illegal immigration by making it easier to immigrate to the U.S. legally, or the government should deal with illegal immigration by increasing border security and enforcement. Strongly agree with option 2. The best way to combat illegal immigration is by shutting down the border, putting up deterrence, cracking down on work sites so that there's no incentives for employers to hire illegal labor. Cut off that part of illegal immigration as well. Our national sovereignty is important. We need to protect it. Option 1, transgender athletes should be able to play on sports teams that match their current gender identity, or option 2, they should only be allowed to play on sports teams that match their birth gender. Given that the biological differences, wingspan, muscle mass, these things do not go away even if you declare yourself to be the opposite sex, even if you undergo hormone therapy, does not negate your masculine born strength. Therefore, strongly agree with option 2. Men should not be in women's sports teams. Enough said. Option 1, the government should prevent people from engaging in hate speech against certain groups in public. Option 2, people should be allowed to express unpopular opinions in public, even those that are deeply offensive to other people. I'm going to say somewhat agree with option 2. Like our founder, William F. Buckley, I am not a free speech absolutist because some speech can promote violence and is toxic to our civil society. And I recognize that this is a delicate balance, but that's why I want to say somewhat agree that we should allow unfettered free expression in the public square. Option 1, racism is built into our society, including into its policies and institutions. Or option 2, racism comes from individuals who hold racist views, not from our society and institutions. Yeah, I do not buy the Ibram X. Kendi, Robin DiAngelo argument of 2020 that all of America is white supremacist to its core, and this is irreversible, and it's in our DNA. No, there's just fallen humans in this country, and some of them are bigoted and prejudiced and racist, and we need to squash those kinds of ideas, but this country was not founded to be racist. Strongly agree with option 2. We need to reallocate funding from police departments to social services is option 1, or option 2, we need to fully fund the budget for police departments. Strongly agree with option 2. You send a therapist down into the subway system in New York City to negotiate with a lunatic with a machete. I don't know if you're really going to get anywhere. There should really be a third option, which is we need to probably bring back institutionalization of those who are incompatible with civil society and are both mentally unwell and prone to violence, because we don't want another case of Arina Zarutska, who was viciously murdered in North Carolina. Need I say more? So strongly agree with option 2. Option 1, hard work and determination are no guarantee of success for most people. Or option 2, most people who want to get ahead can make it if they're willing to work hard. Option 2, strongly agree with that. We still have a meritocracy. Actually, nope. I'm going to do a mid-question revise. Somewhat agree with option 2. Well, we're supposed to have a meritocracy, and that's kind of been restored since Trump got elected. There's still DEI and remnants of that in a lot of companies, even if it's technically prohibited in much of government and the public sector. There's still a lot of companies that are stuck in the woke era, and that's discriminating against the most qualified candidates just because they don't fit some sort of like artificial quota because the company feels like it has to grovel. Somewhat agree with option 2. Option 1, I would rather have a bigger government providing more services, or option 2, I would rather have a smaller government providing fewer services. Now, this is where the right-wing divide can be evident today, because the new right or some of these Trumpian types actually think we should have a big government that just serves conservative purposes. But I would argue that's fundamentally not conservative, and we're never going to get rid of the corruption and the rot and the political polarization of government unless we shrink it. Because if it shrinks, then there's more power to the people have more independence. We do not want an enormous state. We just don't. In no scenario is that good. Strongly agree with option 2. Option 1, the fact that some people in the US are rich and others are poor is a problem that needs to be fixed. Or option 2, the fact that some people in the US are rich and others are poor is an acceptable part of our economic system. I want to say I'm unsure, because the fact that there is a disappearing middle class is not a good thing, and I know that that is what's driving Gen Z into the arms of either socialists and economic populists like Zohar Mamdani, but even some in the MAGA right-wing camp are starting to see this as an unfair system, and they're toying with the idea of, the government should be providing more to the average American because the socioeconomic divide is so stark. So I don't think we should penalize the rich because they innovate, they employ millions of people. They're not the boogeyman. They're not demons here. But I also know that there's a lot of people in the lower echelons that feel like they cannot rise and the mobility is just not there. So how do we fix that is an interesting question. And Who knows, maybe crony capitalism had something to do with this big divide, but I am unsure. Option 1, government regulation of business is necessary to protect the public interest. Option 2, government regulation of business usually does more harm than good. I'd say strongly agree with option 2. I am a free market capitalist, and I do think that too much regulation of business is going to make everything more expensive. It's going to inhibit that business from growing, which means less economic growth, less hiring. It's just not good. I'm going to say strongly agree with option 2. Option 1, the federal minimum wage must be increased to $20 an hour. Option 2, the federal minimum wage should not be increased to $20 an hour. Again, strongly agree with option 2. If there's a government mandate to increase wages for companies, that's coercion on that company. And they're probably going to have to either fire people to make ends meet, or they're going to have to cut costs in some other way, or they're going to have to pass on the cost to the consumer. This is basic economics. A lot of people don't take that in college these days, but I think, more Gen Z should take economics, because then you'd see how this is not good for businesses or for really anyone. It's just a short-term dopamine spike, but in the long term, it's an L. Option 1, we should raise taxes in order to ensure Social Security and Medicare's long-term future. Option 2, we should curb benefits in order to ensure Social Security and Medicare's long-term future. I don't think we should expand these programs. So I guess option 2, strongly agree. Option 1, it is the responsibility of the federal government to ensure everyone has health care coverage. Option 2, it is not the responsibility to do that. Option 2, strongly agree. I don't know where we got this idea that healthcare is a right. It's a service. It's a product. You have to sell it, and if you put government into the equation, it's probably going to drop in quality dramatically. And once again, you're punishing the providers. You're punishing the physicians and the doctors, compromising the quality of care because of it. Option 1, stricter environmental laws and regulations are worth the cost. Option 2, stricter environmental laws and regulations cost too many jobs and hurt the economy. Strongly agree with option 2. We don't want the Green New Deal. It's just putting red tape on companies. Not good. Option 1, we should raise taxes on people making more than $250,000 a year. Option 2, we should not raise taxes on people making more than $250,000 a year. Strongly agree with option 2. We're seeing this play out in New York City right now. If we add more taxes to the millionaires and billionaires in New York City, the most affluent, the wealthiest, who are the tax base, they're going to leave for Florida. We're going to run them out of town. Our tax base is going to leave, and New York City cannot afford to run them out of town. So, yeah. Option 1, I trust experts and research to inform my opinions. Option 2, I put my faith in the wisdom of ordinary people rather than experts and intellectuals. Strongly agree with option 2. I think the pandemic era and the terrible blue state botching of that entire time shows that the experts do not know all. Ordinary families probably know what's best for themselves, and we should not be sheep and have a herd mentality and just follow the CDC and Anthony Fauci and all of their dictates, because turns out they were wrong about a lot. Option 1, it is best for the future of our country to be active in world affairs. Option 2, we should pay less attention to problems overseas and concentrate on problems here at home. Somewhat agree with option 2 because I know that's like where the zeitgeist is at politically for both sides of the aisle, is just a little bit less aggressive intervention abroad, mainly because, look, a lot of these conflicts have backfired. The Iraq War, honestly, my father served in Vietnam, and even hindsight is 2020 there, wasn't exactly the best move, even though we thought communism was an existential threat at the time. But we can just have a little bit more foreign policy restraint and focus on our own problems here, which are plentiful. Option 1, most politicians are honorable public servants trying to do the right thing for the country. Option 2, most politicians are corrupt or just looking out for their own interests. It's hard not to focus on your own self-interest in any career. I don't see why public service is any different. Maybe they went into it well-intentioned, but it's a corrupting field, especially because there's so much money involved in politics. So I want to say I somewhat agree with option 2 that most politicians are corrupt to some degree. Option 1, most journalists are doing important work reporting truthfully on current events. Option 2, most journalists are pushing their opinions in their reporting. Strongly agree with option 2, objective reporting is dead. It is dead. And if they say it's neutral, like the BBC and NPR and PBS do, they're lying. Option 1, free trade agreements have generally helped the United States. Option 2, free trade agreements have generally hurt the United States. I want to say somewhat agree with option 1. I think free trade did provide a lot of prosperity in the past, but there were certain bad trade deals, like with China, that have put us in a really weird spot because they are communist and they want to see us collapse. But we have a trade deal with them. So now everything on Amazon is from China. Option 1. Collaborative international institutions are crucial to maintaining a free, safe, and stable world. Option 2, collaborative international institutions limit the United States' ability to act in its own interests. I'm going to have to strongly agree with option 2, going back to even the League of Nations and World War II, which did absolutely nothing to stop World War II. I should say it was a World War I, post-World War I institution. I don't care if we're not in the World Economic Forum or the WTO or any of that stuff. I don't really think the credibility is there anymore. NATO was pretty effective for a long time. That actually had some teeth. Strongly agree with option 2, though. Suppose the Democratic and Republican parties were replaced by a new set of political parties. Which of these parties would you be most likely to support? Number 1, stop illegal immigration, put America first, stand up to political correctness, and end unfair trade deals. Put the middle class first. Pass universal health insurance, strengthen labor. I can already tell you that this is not it. Sorry. Universal health insurance, you lost me there. Defend the American system of free enterprise, promote traditional family values, and ensure a strong military. Tempted to choose that one. That's more of a classic old school conservatism platform, but I'm torn because ending illegal immigration is extremely important. Our national sovereignty is extremely important, and it was trounced upon and just humiliated for the entire Biden era. And I think putting America first is a good philosophy. It is, and it's where the Gen Z conservatives are at right now. And enough with wokeness. And I think the first option kind of encapsulates most of that. Unfair trade deals, I'm not super convinced that, every trade deficit we have with every country is inherently bad, but given the illegal immigration and the America First part, I'm gonna select that. So that's a more MAGA sounding answer that I picked. All right, for which candidate did you vote in the 2024 presidential election? Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, someone else? I didn't vote. Prefer not to say. Donald Trump, the Republican candidate. Okay, I wrapped it. I'm done. Your political ideology, your political tribe, first and foremost, hard right. Staunch conservatives across the social and economic spectrum who also take consistently anti-establishment positions, skews older and male. Well, I am my father's daughter, and I'm very proud of that, actually. Your quadrant is conservative. You hold conservative views on both economic and social issues, favoring traditional values and free markets. Yeah, I would say that's pretty true. Your party in a multi-party America, though, would be nationalist. So I would be lumped in more with MAGA when it comes to a party. Stop illegal immigration, put America first, stand up to political correctness, and end unfair trade deals. So there's this huge chart of where I stand. I am way the heck up here. And that's kind of weird because there could be a further right than this, and I'm not there personally, but okay, I guess that's me. To me, even the premise of a political tribe quiz is a little bit blackpilling, because the more we double down on our tribe, the less we listen to those with other beliefs, and I admit I am a part of the problem. And because of that, we're not going to challenge ourselves, we're not going to want to gather all of the evidence and find the best arguments. Healthy debate is good, actually. A lot of people are scared of disagreement and confrontation, but it makes us sharp. We also humanize the other side when these debates don't happen over a screen. If everyone is just affirming our own beliefs, we're going to be pretty weak at defending those beliefs. But it is comforting to know that because of the First Amendment, and also because cancel culture kind of died in 2024 with Trump's election, we can still talk about ideas to try to find the truth. And maybe I'm naive here, but I still believe there's a center in between these two poles that's full of curious people who haven't made up their minds. There's normal people out there with a mixed bag of views. I'm sure there's gun-toting birdie bros and tree-hugging people who don't want men and women's sports. And they're the ones who show that our political system is still working, even if it's annoying, because they're the ones staving off civil war, the moderate middle. According to this survey, I fall in the far right quadrant, but look, I do debates all the time. I welcome them. I go on CNN and I engage with some of my Democratic peers and political opponents, and I do it respectfully with a smile because I genuinely want to find the truth and I want to gather as much information as possible. So that's the attitude that we all need to have, even if, okay, sometimes we find more support for our own views and our values are just very, very strongly in our minds and hearts. But what do you think? Is America tribal past the point of return? Are we headed there? And you should definitely take the quiz. It's fun. And let us know what results you got in the comments below. And please give us a like, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you never miss out on any future content.